God, what does it mean when I call to talk and I fall apart? 'Cause you won't pick up.
For this first project, I used a wood cutting board I just shared with you guys, some nails, black string, pencil, and a hammer. So what I started off by doing was actually using my pencil just to map out my moon shape, and I just did this very organic. I wanted like an organic moon shape as opposed to something that I printed or like something perfect. I just liked the way that looked, and I used my pencil just to do a couple dots around my shape where the nails are gonna go, just so I can have like a reference when I actually put them in. And then I did about 5 or 6 holes at the bottom of the board, which are gonna act as the actual jewelry holder. And these super puny tiny nails I found at the Home Depot for only $1.50, so it's basically from the dollar store as well, really inexpensive. And I had to use a pair of pliers to actually put them in because they're so small my fingers would not fit in between me hammering them, which is kind of crazy. And I went all the way around the perimeter of the moon shape and just nailed in all of the nails. And this project literally took me probably 20 minutes total, and it was kind of fun. Like, hammering these nails in is a little bit therapeutic. Just think of each one as something that you don't like in life. Like, there you go.
Please, baby, let me go on and make me higher.
I did a couple on the bottom as well, which is going to act as a jewelry holder, but you can also just use this as like a wall decor piece and exclude those. But I used my black string and went very organically around the inside of this moon shape, and there's no rhyme or reason to this. I literally put the string wherever I thought it fit and wherever it made it look a little bit more full. So I just went all the way around, looping it in between nails, and every single nail, make sure to kind of wrap it around so it's really tight and structured. And then I thought that this was nice, but I really wanted to sort of create an edge around it to kind of just, I don't know, lock the inside in. I thought it just made it look a little bit more finished and a bit more of an actual shape. The other one looked a little bit more organic. I pushed all the threads back up, and that is how I finished this project.
It gets harder and harder and harder to ignore the bad things when you keep on giving me things that ain't good.
Moving on to project number 2, I used some brass spray paint, string lights, and these little wicker balls and some hot glue. These wicker balls were actually found at the dollar store as well. I bought 2 packs of them, and what I started off by doing was putting the little wicker balls inside of, I love that I'm saying wicker balls so much, inside of a box, and then I used the brass spray paint to spray them a nice brass color, and I flipped them and of course like recoated them. I had to do this about 4 or 5 times to make sure that they were completely coated in the spray paint, and we are essentially creating some little brass ball lanterns, which look so cute in the end, I swear. And I got this string light. It's only 4 feet of it. I got it at Joann's Fabrics for just a couple of dollars, but you can get like a longer one at Urban Outfitters, or probably find one on Amazon as well. I'll make sure to link one below. But I created these little tiny lanterns, which definitely spruces up the look of just like a basic string light. As you can see here, it looks pretty incredible, I think. And at nighttime, it reflects off of the little like openings, and it kind of creates shadows. It looks so pretty. So what you do is just go all the way down, stringing on the string light into the wicker ball openings, and then I use a little bit of hot glue just to secure each side onto the actual string. And once you're completely done, you can hang this up and turn them on, and it looks like a perfect little wicker lantern.
When I call to talk and I fall apart, 'cause you won't pick up your phone. Yes, I can't admit I'm in over my head, that I'm falling down that slippery.
This next project is called the Memory Mobile, and I used the grilling wok, some clips that I found at the dollar store, and some black string I had on hand. And what I started off by doing was cutting off 2 sides of the grilling wok with a pair of scissors. It's super easy to cut this off. It's not thick metal at all. And then what I did was use the black string and strung it through the spring portion of the clip. And I did this to about 12 clips total, but you can definitely adjust it to however many memories you want to hang, of course. And once you have all of this done, just make sure to leave like probably about 24 inches of string, so that way you can adjust it when we actually go to tie it or glue it, I guess you could say, onto this metal portion here. So what I did was I slipped it through the underside and glued it on the top side. And I did this through about 12 random holes on this actual grilling wok, and I glued it on all at different lengths. So I wanted it to really vary. That way when you hang all of your memories or your photos or whatever you want to put on these, they kind of hang at different varying lengths, and it just looks very pretty. And you're just gonna load all of your photos or memories on here, and once you have them all done, you can hang this up super simply with a command hook. I would suggest the one that has the metal sort of adjustable hook portion, and you can put it on the ceiling, and it's super, super lightweight, so it's perfect for a dorm room.
When I'm trying not to love you. When I'm trying not to love you.
To create these $2 cork decals, you're gonna need that cork that we found at the dollar store, some white paint, an X-Acto knife, ruler, pencil, and a paintbrush. So what I started off by doing was laying out the cork pieces and creating triangles from them. So the great way to do this, or an easy way to do this, is just to find the middle point of your cork and then draw down from the middle point with a pencil to the corners and use an X-Acto knife to cut off the excess cork. And an amazing way, if you do not know how to cut thicker objects with an X-Acto knife, is to just do multiple strokes. Like, don't push down and try to cut it all at once. It's going to drag and tear. But if you do multiple very light strokes like I'm doing here, it actually cuts so much easier. And this is a great tip if you're like using that foam board that they have at the dollar store, or if you're using cork or anything a bit thicker, just do multiple strokes as opposed to one very hard one. And I created some smaller triangles as well, and a medium shape one as well. It's pretty self-explanatory how to create triangles. And once you have all of these wall decals cut out, I used a little bit of white paint and just some random Scotch tape that I had sitting around just to tape off a portion of the cork so I can go on with my white paint and sort of create a little bit more of a, I guess, white edge. I don't know, I just think it looked very pretty. And I painted one full small triangle as well. And once you have all of these done, all you have to do is cut up your little 3M Scotch adhesives that it came with and put them on your wall, and they're 100% removable, and you can actually pin things to them as well if you'd like.
When I'm trying not to love you, trying not to love you, trying not to, when I'm trying not to love you, trying not to love you, trying not to, when I'm trying not to love you.
To create this trash can, I used the dollar trash can, some vinyl leather fabric from the craft store, a little bit of embroidery floss, an embroidery needle, a ruler, and a hot glue gun. So what I started off by doing was mapping out 3-inch sections or 3-inch strips of this vinyl fabric, and I got a whole quarter yard of vinyl fabric for just $6, or it might have been $3.50 actually. I think it was half off. And I cut out 3-inch strips of this, and I just left them pretty long so I had room to work with. But I'm creating 3-inch strips that way when I fold both of the edges inside, it creates a 1.5-inch strip. So I used my hot glue to fold over half of the vinyl fabric, and I did it on the opposite side as well. And we're just creating a more seamless sort of strip of this leather fabric, or faux leather fabric. And I did this all the way down the piece of pleather, vinyl, I don't even know what you should call this. And then what I did was I actually glued it directly onto the wire mesh basket using a lot of hot glue just so that it was very muchly secure. And when I got to the top portion, I actually wanted to create a little bit of a loop as opposed to just finishing it off because I thought it would look a little bit more decorative. And I used a bit of hot glue just to secure the loop on the inside of the basket. And I think this kind of gives it that very urban sort of restoration hardware-esque feel. And I cut off the bottom portion and used an embroidery needle, and it looks like I'm really struggling with this. It did take a little bit of force. I used the leather to actually push it through, but I just created an X on the outside to give it a little bit more detail as opposed to just having it glued, and I thought it added a nice little touch. And once you're completely finished, just tie off your embroidery floss and you have your brand new sort of rustic restoration hardware inspired trash can for $1.
When